Righty then.
Gotta start somewhere.
Interesting, Jane.
Hello, and welcome to the Whiskey Crusaders. I'm Will.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Matt.
Today we're going to be trying some Buffalo Trace with you. Welcome to the journey.
Okay.
So Buffalo Trace is classified as a bourbon. So let's go over a little bit about what that means first before we dive into the whiskey itself.
Okay, so basically bourbon is it has to be 51% corn, has to be in a new oak vessel, and can't have any additives or coloring added to it. That's just your basic bourbon. The other 49% kind of be whatever grain you want it to be. Most will either use rye or barley as your other two, but occasionally you'll find other things in other ones. But that's what they use in Buffalo Trace is rye and barley. This is a low rye mash bill, so it's usually around under 10% rye. The rest of it's barley, just to not take some of the edge off of it.
Kickstart the fermentation as well.
Yes, that's
All
true
the
too.
time.
Good point. Excellent. You want to do the history on that?
So yeah, Buffalo Trace started back in 17?
1775.
Yeah.
So it's also a historical landmarker. The funny thing about Buffalo Trace is basically everything you've ever heard of today is named after one of the founders or presidents of each different version. Hancock, which most people like Hancock Reserve, was one of their first ones. Eventually, and that was in 1775. And then later in the 1800s, Blanton's, which goes on to E.H. Taylor, then to George T. Stagg, and one of their master blenders is essentially Elmer T. Lee, and basically every single one of them has a bourbon named after them. And also their current one is Harlan Wheatley, and he has a vodka named after him. So that's the basic history of Buffalo Trace. And I guess we're going to go into the nosing and the tasting.
Yeah. Typical bourbon notes really jump out of the glass. You get that brown sugar.
Lots of brown sugar. Caramel and
A little bit of cherry back there.
a little bit, some spice and oak.
Raisins.
Raisins. I can buy raisins.
Yeah, I get the brown sugar and the cherry. The brown sugar is prominent for me.
Oh yeah, most definitely. But then also has that waxy, furniture polish, like freshly put on wax. I think that's what it is. Let's see what this thing tastes like.
I get the same baking spices on the taste. A little bit of chocolate.
I gotta think that German chocolate in the layers between.
A lot of dark chocolate.
Yeah.
It's got a nice spice to it. It's being 90 proof, so it's a little spicier than most 90 proofs, but it's a nice spice.
It's a well-rounded spice.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not pointy.
But it has a long finish.
Yeah.
And you can't go wrong as your basic bourbon for something to try. This is just a great classic bourbon to start your journey with.
I get a little bit of the wood notes on the finish, the oakiness.
Yeah, it's a good
What else do we have from
overall.
Buffalo Trace Open?
Alright, so the next thing we're going to introduce here is Eagle Rare.
And bam, just like magic, the Eagle Rare is there now.
Yeah, it's like magic, yeah. This one's a 10-year bourbon. It used to be a single barrel, but when they switched from the hand bottling line to the actual machine line, they might get a little bit of a second barrel, so they had to take off this single barrel, but that's okay, it still tastes amazing.
And most of it is essentially a single
Barrel, yeah. It's just when you change barrels, they have to do it, so. But that's okay, nobody cares, it's still a great product. They also make a 17-year that none of us have ever seen, and maybe someday, God willing, we'll see a beat. It's the Buffalo Trace Tea Collection 17-year, but we'll have to see. Maybe someday.
Maybe someday.
Alright, so let's get into this thing.
So this is, again, bourbon. We're going to talk about the same things, or we don't need to talk about the same things, but new oak. We're talking about made in America.
Dark chocolate.
Made by the same company, so we're still talking about Buffalo Trace. This is just another one of their lines in their collection.
Yeah, basically since it's older, it's a little bit dark, it's darker chocolate, the cherry, like a chocolate covered cherries, cinnamon and cloves.
Unlike the Buffalo, where prominent notes were brown sugar, I get the prominent nose of the berries.
Yeah, it's not as, you don't get that spiciness. It's much more well rounded and it's darker and deeper. You can tell it's been in the barrel longer.
Yeah, and the cherry note, like we were saying, it is quite a bit more prominent.
All right, let's see what this tastes like.
I get a lot of the clove on the taste,
Yeah,
the deeper baking spices on the taste.
more clove, like the outside of a cigar wrapper. It's just dark chocolate, just really dark and that bit high cacao, bitter chocolate.
Yeah, with that sweet maraschino cherry kind of filling,
Right. Chocolate covered cherries.
because that definitely is the coating of the tongue, is that dark chocolate you were talking about.
Because sometimes, yeah, in the second taste, you actually get kind of medicinal cherry. It's kind of like a cough drop cherry on it. So yeah, it kind of changes over time, but yeah, it's definitely a medicinal
Yeah, I can
cherry
get that.
now.
Cherry is the prominent in this on both the nose and the
Absolutely.
taste for me.
Yeah. Do we know about the mash bill on this? Is it a
Same
little
thing.
bit
It's
higher
the,
mash
it's
bill
the
or
same
mash bill as
exact
the
mash
Buffalo
bill. It's just aged a little bit longer. Same. It's the low rye mash bill 1. So same thing, less than 10% rye. Mostly going to be barley as your second ingredient in it.
And our proof.
Proof is also 90 on this one.
This feels more rounded. This doesn't feel as high of proof as the Buffalo did.
The finish
Agreed.
isn't
To
as
me.
long. for me
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
it's much. It's
Yeah.
lack of a better word. It's for especially for newer drinkers. It's a smoother, not spicy bourbon.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
just really well rounded. And just it coats your whole tongue and it's just a really nice mouthfeel on it.
Yeah.
So it's just
If you like
Agreed.
Buffalo Eagle
You'll
Rare,
really like
nice,
it.
it's a nice
just
step,
a nice step
up.
up. Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
And same price point is only about $5 more. It's about $30 in most markets. It's a little bit harder to find the Buffalo Trace. If you can find it, it's a buy it every time.
Especially at that price point.
Especially
Agreed.
for $30. Yeah, don't go pay when somebody offers you for 60. Don't buy it for 60. It's not worth 60, but for $30 all day long.
It's definitely a constant in our
Yes,
collection.
absolutely.